Anyway, my name's Preston Winn. I'm here representing Key-Lix. If you're not familiar with Key-Lix, we are a livestock supplement manufacturing facility, and so what's that? I think the mic died. We'll try it real quick. If not, I'll try and speak up.
The key is to hold it close to your
Test, 1, 2. Now we've got, what, Chicago PD going on here? Where'd that remote go? Okay. Anyway, my name is Preston Winn. My dad's name is Kelly Winn. His dad's name is Archie Ray Winn. And his dad's name was Parley Winn, and that's where the story of our business begins. We've been here in Smithfield. The list goes even further than that for, well, pretty much since the beginning. I can't remember exactly what year and where it matches up, but my roots are definitely here in Smithfield, and so it's fun to be here and to be a part of this celebration. So as I was saying, at Key-Lix, we make livestock supplements to support the health of cattle, horses, sheep, whatever livestock animals you might see around. And that's really the core of our business, I'd say, is health and community, trying to help reinforce those things. So the story of Key-Lix, as I was saying, begins with my great-grandpa, Parley Nelson Winn. In 1941, he purchased a small feed company here in town called Farmers Exchange. And so, it was located just over here on Main Street, over by where I think it's old grist mill is there now. There's, I believe the building is still there, the very first one, where he set up shop. And he just began selling feed. Not a new thing per se, but he ran a roller mill and kept things going to try and keep animals fed here in Smithfield. And his focus was on providing high quality feed, and soon the trend of the industry kind of shifted a bit where, the focus was on fortified, vitaminized feed that helped support the health and strength of the animals. And so he hopped on that very early and was, I believe, from what I can tell in the history books, one of the first in the region to try and do this vitaminized, mineralized feed that he tried and continued to sell. And so in the late 1940s, his business expanded, demand grew. Obviously, there's more people settling here in Smithfield, more animals. And so he needed more space. So he bought an old dance hill just up the road, or dance hall / theater just up the road from there, and began renovating it into what became the next phase of Farmers Exchange so that they could keep up with all of the demand. And he bought all of the state-of-the-art equipment he could, and business was really booming. But by 1958, tragedy struck as a fire destroyed the mill, burnt it to the ground. And I know that it was this community that got us through that. Unfortunately, I don't have any of my Grandpa Parley's journals or anything. I believe at least the older ones were destroyed in that fire. But definitely it's been instilled in me that it was because of the people around him and the community that he had around him that he was able to pick up and rebuild, and probably the whole reason I'm still here today, why any of us Winns are still here. So he was able to resume operations at another facility while he rebuilt, due to having friends around that he could work with and that supported him and got us going again. So only 2 years after that, in 1960, my great-grandpa Parley passed away. He died of a heart attack. I imagine much of it from the stress of trying to rebuild and get going again. And so my grandpa, Archie Ray Winn, he liked to be called Ray, so I'll just call him Ray. He was only 18 at the time, but he and his mother Shirley kept the business going, just did what they could to survive and keep afloat and rebuild and grow from there. And so after Parley's death, my grandpa Ray continued the business. Eventually in the 80s, they, again, the space on Main Street wasn't quite a good fit anymore, so we moved to our current location over here on 6th. And that's where we've been ever since, over there on the west side of town. In the 80s as well, my grandpa Ray rebranded, began calling it Winn Feed Inc., and just kept selling feed. But once again, kind of the needs of the industry changed. That's kind of a theme that Alan as well touched on a lot tonight, was how things change. And so that's much of what we're looking at here in history. But the emphasis in the industry shifted from just feed, getting good feed to the animals, to supplementing the animals. And so my grandpa Ray started developing a lick tub product, which is what we do today. That was the new need, the new normal, if you will, of what people needed for their animals, and still is today, very much in demand. And so ever since the 80s, late 80s into the 90s, we've been working on these lick tubs. And again, that was the revolutionary product at the time that's kind of propelled us into where we are today. In 2015, my grandpa Ray passed away. He had terminal brain cancer. And around that same time, my dad, Kelly, had already been kind of having more influence in the business and more interest and more had more hands in it anyway. And so he took over and kept things going after Grandpa Ray passed away. And ever since then, we've just been growing and pushing on to what we can keep doing. In 2016, my dad rebranded from Winn Feed to Key-Lix LLC, named after our product that was much more familiar than the Winn Feed name. And so that's why we're called Key-Lix today, is after the product, and gives us a lot more recognition that way. But under his direction, my dad really has a keen eye, I guess, for marketing and kind of what was needed to really get more recognition in the industry, and was able to kind of drive us from staying afloat to really growing and having more of an impact in the industry here in the West. And so as things kept growing, of course, Kelly, my dad, my mom, Kristen, and my grandma Lila as well is still involved. saw a need that couldn't manage it on their own anymore. So we've got another Smithfield native, Jed Archibald, who helps manage the strategic kind of flow of the company and the operations of the company. So my dad can do what he's good at as well on the marketing and finance side. And we keep going from there. He's great. And we've got a really good core team going at Key-Lix now. We continue to just, again, experience strong growth each year. So since then, we've spread into Canada, all across the western U.S., and we're currently working on a new facility in North Dakota to kind of help us meet the demands that we see kind of coming up in the Midwest, but northeast from here. So yeah, that again is the story of Key-Lix, and as I kind of said from the beginning, the story of Key-Lix is very much about health and supporting the community around us as they've always supported us all these years. And so once again, I know I'm grateful, and my family has always been grateful for this community, and especially the Smithfield roots that we have. And so that's what I've got to say. Thank you.